First of all, I would like to compliment Dr. Gobind Singh for organizing this seminar to celebrate 350th birthday of Gobind Singh. I would also like to thank Honorable Pehchanabo Ashok, Consul General of India, for sponsoring this event. Thank you so much. This is an occasion to look beyond the narrow politics of division based on caste, creed, color, or race, and draw inspiration from the universal message of unity and equality proclaimed by the 10th Guru. The main theme of this seminar is based on a celebrated passage of Akal Takht, in which Guru Gobind Singh declares that humankind is one, that all people belong to a single humanity. Manas ki Jaat, Sabhe, Ekai, Pehchanabo. In the Sikh Panth's collective memory, Guru Gobind Singh is revered as the Lord of an egret, Kalmiyawala, the Lord of the White Hawk, Chitte Bazamwala, and the Lord of Blue Charger, Neele Kodewala, reflecting his spiritual and regal status. If you look at the white hawk, white is a symbol of peace. Hawk is a powerful bird that establishes a link between human and divine. And horse, blue horse, blue is the color of sky, blue is the color of ocean. Guru Gobind Singh has depth in spirituality and height in character. Following the earlier military tradition of his grandfather Guru Hargobind, Guru Gobind Singh assumed characteristics of both a spiritual leader and a temporal ruler, who had specific responsibilities to protect righteousness. He was the ruler of a spiritual empire in the hearts of his people, who brought the richest presents when they visited him, and who were always ready to make any sacrifice at his command. Today, I'm going to focus on 5 crucial moments in Guru Gobind Singh's lived experience. The first is the earth-shattering moment that came when Guru Gobind Singh was just 9 years old. His father, Guru Tegh Bahadur, encouraged his followers to be fearless in their pursuit of a just society. He who holds none in fear, nor is afraid of anyone, is acknowledged as a person of true wisdom. This is the ideal state for human beings, both individually and socially. In such a condition, no one submits to high-handedness and exploitation, and no one has the chance to oppress, despoil, or demean another. In this state, there is no aggression, nor any fear of aggression. In this utopia, peace is the value prized most. Peace is thus ensured. In preaching this message of fearlessness, the 9th Guru posed a direct challenge to Emperor Aurangzeb, who had imposed Islamic laws and taxes on non-Muslims. According to an earliest narrative, when a group of Hindu Pandits from Kashmir asked that Guru's help against Aurangzeb's oppressive measures, he agreed to do so and to defend their right to wear their sacred threads and frontal marks. A message was sent to the emperor saying, if Guru Tegh Bahadur could be persuaded to accept Islam, the Hindus would convert as well. Accordingly, the Guru was summoned to Delhi, and when he refused to abandon his faith, he was publicly executed on 11th November 1675. In this context, Wilfred Campbell Smith has aptly remarked that, quote, the attempt forcibly to convert the ninth Guru to an externalized, impersonal Islam clearly made an indelible impression on the martyr's 9-year-old son, Gobind, who reacted slowly but deliberately by eventually organizing the Sikh group into a distinct, formal, symbol-patterned, boundary community, unquote. Guru Tegh Bahadur's martyrdom involved the larger issues of human rights and freedom of conscience. That's why he is popularly known as Hindi Chadar, the protector of Hindustan, with reference to his supreme sacrifice to protect the religious freedom of all faiths during the tyrannical rule of Emperor Aurangzeb. It may be stated that at the age of 9, Guru Nanak refused to wear the sacred thread by saying, make compassion the cotton, contentment the thread, continence the knot, the truth the twist. This is the sacred thread of the soul. If you possess this, O Brahman, then place it on me. It does not break or become soiled with filth. This can neither be burned nor lost. Blessed are the people, O Nanak, who wear such a sacred thread around their neck. However, 9-year-old Gobind Rai inspires his father to protect the sacred threads of Kashmiri Pandits. A century later, French philosopher Voltaire, who was a product of European Enlightenment, gave his famous message, I disapprove of what you say, but I will defend to the death your right to say it. He did not die for anybody, but his message of freedom of speech became the foundational value of democracy in the Western world. We need to explore parallel modernities emerging in India and other parts of the world. Now I come to the second creative moment in Paonta Sahib. The second creative moment came in 1985 when Guru Gobind Singh stayed at Paonta Sahib. On the bank of River Jamuna, he initiated the process for the production of powerful literature to bring a revolution in Indian society. Much like the courtly culture of his times, the Guru encouraged the translation and adaptation of the stories of ancient Indian literature into vernacular language for the sake of preparing the Sikhs to fight in a just war. Dasan katha pagaut ki pakha kari banaye, avar vasna nahe prav dharm yudh keh chaye. I have composed the discourse of the 10th part of Bhagavat in the vernacular. I have no other desire, O Lord, except the zeal for the war to be fought on the basis of righteousness. Thus, we need to understand the internal dynamics of literary production at the court of Guru Gobind Singh in the historical context of late 17th century. His most significant composition, Akal Ustat, in praise of the timeless one, was produced at Paonta Sahib. Even though he had to spend the greater part of his life fighting battles forced on him by Hindu Hind Rajas and the Mughal authorities, a longing for peace and fellowship may be seen in the following passages from the Akal Ustat. Some are called Hindus, others are Muslims, members of Shia or Sunni sects. Let it be known that humankind is one, that all people belong to a single humanity. There is no difference between a temple and a mosque, the prayers of a Hindu or a Muslim, though differences seem to distinguish. All human beings are in reality the same, with the eyes the same, the ears and body, all possessing a common form. All are in fact a single creation, the elements of nature such as earth, air, fire, water and ether. in a uniform blend. Allah is the same as the God of the Hindus. Quran and the Quran are one and the same. All are the same, none is separate, a single form, a single creation. These verses emphasize the ironic belief that the differences of dividing people are in reality meaningless. All people are fundamentally the same because all are under the same Lord. The same Supreme Being is both the source and ultimate resting place of all humankind. While Gobind Singh gave some remarkable passages in original Punjabi language from Akal Ustat, Guru Gobind Singh's universal vision included the people of the world among the seekers of Akal Purkh, such as the people of Arabia, of France, the Kandahari, the Qureshi, the Westerners, the Marathas, the Biharis, the Odiyas, the Bengalis, the English, Ferengi, the residents of Delhi, the Gurkhas, the Chinese, Manchurians, Tibetans, the Easterns of Kamrup and Kamau. All these were blessed as they sang the praises of one Lord. This is quite a sweep of geographical imagination for one who never traveled outside India. The global reach of Guru Gobind Singh's works is remarkably conducive to the sensibilities of postmodern world. The third crowning moment comes at Anandpur Sahib in 1699, when Guru Gobind Singh restructured the Sikh Panth and instituted the Khalsa, an order of loyal Sikhs bound by common identity and discipline. On Vaisakhi Day at Anandpur, he initiated the first so-called Church Five, Panch Pyare, who formed the nucleus of new order of the Khalsa. These 5 volunteers who responded to the Guru's call for loyalty and who came from different castes and regions of India received the initiation through a ceremony that involved sweetened water, amrit, stirred with a double-edged sword, sanctified by the recitation of 5 liturgical prayers. The Panch Pyare, in turn, administered the amrit ceremony to the Guru himself, after which vast crowds are said to have joined the order that day. The Guru symbolically transferred his authority to the cherished 5 when he himself received the nectar of the double-edged sword from their hands and thus became a part of the Khalsa Panth, subject to its collective will. In this way, he not only paved the way for the termination of the office of the personal Guru, but also abolished the institution of deputies, masans, which was becoming increasingly disruptive. From the perspective of ritual studies, and the original Amrit ceremony was not simply an initiation rite. Rather, it was the ceremony of enthronement to the exalted status of the Khalsa with its power and authority. A careful examination of ancient Indic enthronement ceremony, Rajusya, or an oath of office of the President of the United States in modern times reveals that some elements of the Amrit ceremony are amazingly similar. In actual practice, it is an oath-taking ceremony to the exalted status of the Khalsa, in which one solemnly takes 3 pledges. Number 1, the Guru says, in the form of 5 beloved ones, Bol, Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. The initiates repeats Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh in much the same way as the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court speaks the words of the oath and the President-elect repeats those words. The Khalsa takes the first pledge that I will be working as a warrior saint to fight for the victory of Vaheguru. Khalsa belongs to Vaheguru victory belongs to Waheguru. There's no scope for any ego. Second pledge is Jo Bole So Nihal Sat Sri Akal. When an oppressed person cries out for help, the Khalsa must answer the call, uplift him and exalt him. A Sikh volunteer organization, Khalsa Aid, located outside London, has provided worldwide support for national emergencies such as the refugee crisis in Greece in 2016, the UK floods of 2015, Yemen civil war of 2015, including the Nepal earthquake, floods of Malawi and cyclone Mercy in Australia. They are simply honoring the second pledge. Anyone who cries out for help, they answer the call. Jo Bole So Nihal. He must be uplifted and made happy. Third is the Khalsa identity. Rahat, 5 Ks, and we have heard a lot about them. The creation of the Khalsa by the 10th Guru was unique in 2 senses. First, it invited all Sikhs to join egalitarian order of the Khalsa regardless of their background. And second, it encouraged them to become warriors of righteousness, to engage in a struggle against injustice and tyranny. The fourth peak moment comes in Guru Gobind Singh's life when he wrote the Zafarnama. Guru Gobind Singh was fully competent with a diplomatic strategy in which rival kings exchanged letters of verbal warfare as a matter of well-established convention of statecraft in both Indic and Islamic contexts. He addressed Emperor Aurangzeb by using Islamic concepts and Persian literary conventions to appeal to his conscience. In fact, the Guru had made a perfect case before the Emperor in the Zafarnama that he won his immediate attention to redress his grievances. First of all, the Zafarnama is essentially a homily on keeping one's word. It's no wonder that Guru Gobind Singh upbraids Aurangzeb for breaking his oath taken on the Quran. This refers to the treachery of his generals during the siege of Anandpur, when after promising safe conduct to the Guru's forces for leaving the city, they attacked and looted the Guru's property. And the Guru says, quote, "He who puts faith in your oath on the Quran comes to ruin in the end. A man ought to adhere to his pledge. He must not say one thing while practicing another." Second, Guru Gobind Singh advocates a doctrine that one must try all peaceful means of negotiations in the pursuit of justice. But when all those methods of redress have failed, then it is legitimate to draw the sword in defense of righteousness. Guru Gobind Singh justifies the use of force in defense of justice when all other alternatives fail. However, this does not mean that the Panth exists only to breathe fire or wield naked swords. The use of force is certainly allowed in the Sikh doctrine, but it's authorized only in defense of justice and only as a last resort. Finally, in the face of tyranny, justice can be defended and maintained only through sacrifices. The Zafarnama further stresses that no sacrifice is too great for the sake of truth and justice. Guru Gobind Singh says, "It does not matter if my 4 sons have been killed, the Khalsa is still there at my back. Jihan shud ke choon bach gaye pushta cha ke baki bimadast pe chita maar." there is a reliable evidence to confirm the correspondence between the Guru and the Emperor. The official newspaper, Akhbarat-e Darbar-e-Mualla from Jaipur, carries the news item in which it is stated that Aurangzeb had summoned Guru Gobind Singh to present himself before the Emperor, and a farman, official order of Aurangzeb in Mirza Anayat Ullah Khan's Ehkam-e-Alamgiri, reference to a letter received from Guru Gobind Singh in which he had expressed his wish to meet the Emperor. In fact, Aurangzeb issued a few other farmans in this regard, deputing Muhammad Bey and Sheikh Yar Muhammad to approach Guru Gobind Singh through Munim Khan, the governor of Lahore, and use all diplomacy in persuading him to go to the Emperor. If the Guru was to march through the territory of Sirhind, his safety was to be guaranteed, and if he needed any money for his travel, that was to be supplied from the property seized from the Guru himself. Evidently, a kind of peace was established between the Guru and the Emperor, and before the end of 1706, Guru Gobind Singh had decided to see the Emperor. Unfortunately, Aurangzeb died while Guru Gobind Singh was on his way to the south, and the actual meeting between the two never took place. This is an original copy of Guru Granth Sahib being preserved at Aurangabad, where Zafarnama is actually written in the Persian text in the Guru Granth Sahib. Nonetheless, the Zafarnama of Guru Gobind Singh shows forth his reputation for reconciliation. It lays emphasis on keeping one's word, open dialogue, and respect the basic human rights and dignity in the process of reconciliation. It also marks the boundaries of the use of force in conflict resolution. When all peaceful means of redress fail, it's legitimate to draw the sword in defense of righteousness. The Zafarnama prepares both the Guru and the Mughal Emperor for a face-to-face encounter and opens new ways to see each other as persons, to respect each other, and to identify the experiences of the other. Although Guru Gobind Singh and Aurangzeb never met, the Zafarnama laid the foundation for resolving the age-old conflict between the Sikhs and the Mughal authorities. Indeed, the Zafarnama stands for the victory of the principles of reconciliation, personal responsibility, vindication, negotiation, restoration, and healing, which are the hallmarks of the theory and practice of restorative justice in the multicultural and pluralistic world. Now I come to the final or the fifth ultimate moment of transferring the spiritual authority to the Guru Granth Sahib. Guru Gobind Singh had already placed temporal authority within the collective body of the Khalsa, emphasizing the corporate sovereignty of the Sikh Panth. It should be emphasized that the inauguration of the Khalsa was the culmination of the canonical period in the development of Sikhism. Guru Gobind Singh also closed the Sikh canon by adding a collection of the works of his father, and before he passed away in 1708, he terminated the line of personal gurus and installed the Ad Granth as the eternal Guru for the Sikhs. Thereafter, the authority of the Guru was invested in the scripture, Guru Granth, and in the corporate community, Guru Panth. It's no wonder that Guru Nanak's fundamental message of human equality, self-respect, justice for all, human dignity, and fearlessness found its practical expression in the lived experience of the Khalsa. Thus, an egalitarian human revolution that began with the teachings of Guru Nanak found its ultimate expression in the Khalsa of Guru Gobind Singh. Let me conclude. The Guru Granth Sahib offers a vision of common humanity and points the way to look beyond the barriers of caste and creed, race and gender. It stresses Guru Nanak's foundational message of transcending the constructs of Hindu or Muslim, and by implication, of Christian, Jew, Buddhist, Jain, and indeed Sikh. It's the mouthpiece of mutual coexistence and understanding. It emphasizes tolerance and acceptance of diversity of faith and practice. Its existential commitment is toward the ideal of universal brotherhood, sisterhood, and the altruistic concern for humanity as a whole. Sarvat da Bhala. In the pluralistic and multicultural societies of the postmodern world, where stress is being placed upon liberty, diversity, tolerance, and equality of race and gender, Sikh ideals are thoroughly in place and congenial to the developing values of the society. Thank you very much.